The fragrance community is growing stronger every day, especially talking about men's fragrances and that sort of thing. In other parts of the world, it's very popular for men to wear cologne or fragrance or whatever it is and express themselves that way. But here in the United States in particular, not so much. But year by year, it's starting to become a little bit more prevalent. And so with that, you're going to have a little bit more competition. And there's nothing wrong with competition, but if you want to make sure you're staying on top of your game and you're smelling the best and people are also smelling you in particular and you're able to beat out everyone else's fragrance that's coming from all sorts of different directions, you're going to want to choose some things that are strong and have some potency to them, and the scents themselves are composed in a way that cut through the air and cut through all of the other smells that are going to be going on. You know, I hate to say it, but some of your cheapies and some of your more common aquatics aren't really going to achieve this. If you want to cut through and dominate everyone else's colognes and dominate and overpower the competition so that way everyone is smelling you, you're going to have to step up to some of these. It's not a big deal though. For the most part, these are all pretty affordable. I've got 10 of them here to go over today, and so we're going to talk about that. You know, some fragrances that are going to cut through the air, cut through everyone else's cologne. I will provide links to these down below. To discounters so you can get them at prices below retail. Also, my community tab, I'm posting deals over there all day, every day. If you want to save money, that's the place to be. And now, if you want to sign up and receive those deals by email, you can hit the link below and do that. That way, you're not missing out. The community tab doesn't send out notifications, but you can set your email up to give you a notification if you want to make sure you're taking advantage of those deals and not missing out. All right, let's start off with a technically discontinued scent, but you can pick it up right now. It's Polo Red Extreme. So this is a parfum concentration. They give you a whopping 3 notes, and it's going to be coffee, ebony wood, and blood orange. Okay, so really what it is though, it's a coffee scent, and it's a really, really good coffee scent, at least when we're talking designers. Does this compare to some of the top tier coffee scents on the niche side or indie side? No, but again, we're talking Polo, you know, we're talking a designer, okay? And so the brand, Ralph Lauren, is always going to be focusing on putting out mass-pleasing things, and oftentimes that's going to come with a little bit of a sacrifice in terms of its uniqueness and blend. But I will say, when we're talking designers, this is one of my favorite coffee scents. I mean, it's really, really good, and it's a true coffee scent. You really do pick up on the note. It's not arbitrary. It's not something that they just throw in there and try to trick you into smelling coffee. Like, you actually pick up on it here from the opening into the dry down. It's really a shame that they're discontinuing this because they often tend to discontinue some of their best fragrances. I guess not just this brand, but designers in general. And usually that correlates with less sales because maybe this isn't as mainstream. So that's just kind of how it goes. I would recommend you get one of these while you still can. It cuts through the air, it cuts through everyone else's colognes or scents or fragrances or whatever it is. Given that it's got that parfum concentration, it has great performance all the way around. Next up, we're going to go with MISSONI Parfum. This one has grapefruit, birch, some other woods going on in here. It gets compared a little bit to Bleu de Chanel, but frankly, it's quite different in that it has more focus on some depth and some woods, and the birchy smokiness here is different compared to like the incense that you get in Bleu de Chanel. And I also find it to actually have more substantial delivery and performance compared to Bleu de Chanel. So Bleu de Chanel really wouldn't be the best fit for this video. It doesn't quite have the power and composition to cut through other colognes, but this one does. It really does have some heft when it comes to the scent profile to where it's just going to kind of overtake a lot of other scents in the air. It's overpowering for sure. And you get that when you smell it, when you spray it up in the air. Great atomizer, by the way. Even when you just smell it off the top of the bottle, it does have some heftiness, some sweetness to it, a little bit of a dusty, powdery smell, and all that citrus as well. And it really just kind of works its way through the air and kind of fills up a space with relative ease. Moving on to the next one, we have Ferragamo Oud. Now this one here has rum, tobacco, some oud in here, some other general woods going on as well. And it's going to be a little bit more of a masculine, kind of classic, refined scent. It's not going to be youthful and playful like some of the other ones that we're going to be covering in here. So going to be more for the mature audience. That being said, it is a very strong powerhouse of a scent. Now, this isn't really a cheapie. It's kind of mid-range, $50, $55, and this is a 100 ml bottle. It's an eau de parfum. And so for the price, you do get a lot of things in return, mainly being that performance. It really does kind of overpower a lot of other fragrances going on in the air. It's got great projection, solid longevity, and it's something unique. At the end of the day, that's kind of what you're going to be going for if you choose this one, if you just want something a little bit out of the ordinary. And kind of switching gears and going in the opposite direction of that one, you could go for something like DIOR Sauvage. And I'm going to feature the Parfum for this video. Really, you could go with any version, the newest Elixir, all the way back to the original Eau de Toilette. The problem is, if you're wearing Sauvage and someone else is wearing Sauvage, which is very likely in this day and age, well, now what? People aren't going to know where it's coming from because Sauvage is coming from all different directions, unless you go with a flanker. So while you could choose any, and if you get lucky and you're the only guy in the room wearing Sauvage, it's going to work great. But if not, you're kind of going to be screwed. So my recommendation is maybe play it safe. Go for either the Parfum or the Elixir. I honestly would say that even the EDP isn't different enough to separate itself. So, you know, for this example, the Parfum is kind of what I'm going for here. It's got sandalwood, olibanum, orange, and bergamot in here. So it kind of loses the overwhelmingly sharp ambroxan accord and freshness and gives you some sweetness and a little bit of a like kind of smokiness as well. A little bit of a warm smell in here too. So it kind of changes it up in a way where it still has great performance and has a way of just filling up a room and just taking over. Moving into the next one, we have SPICEBOMB Infrared. Cinnamon, red fruits, and tobacco. It's the SPICEBOMB DNA that you guys know and love, but it's a little bit brought up to date to some extent. The red fruits gives it a sweetness in a different way that the original does not have. Of course, the original is very sweet, very spicy. So is this one. But it's just kind of like a refresh. It's a modernized take on that original DNA while still sticking with the original DNA. The tobacco, the cinnamon, the spices, right? It's what it's all about still, but just with a different twist. But one thing that is for sure, this type of smell completely destroys everything else around. I mean, if you're wearing Nautica Voyage or an Aquatic or a Freshie, you don't stand a chance to get something like this one, especially if you spray it on relatively heavily. So depending on what you're going to, you can bump up your sprays for more impact or lower them for a more, you know, situational environment. Depends on what you're in, but this one works really well. And next up, NUIT Parfum by ISSEY MIYAKE. It's got vanilla and leather, primarily is what I kind of focus on with this one. Those two notes there is what you're going to get the most out of this one consistently as you wear it. But what I find is that every time I do wear this one, I pick up on just different aspects of how the vanilla and the leather come across. Yeah, like there's some, you know, black pepper, there's some spices in here as well, some tonka bean like sweetness, but really it's the way the leather and vanilla mend together here that just really makes this one stand out and it makes it unique. It's not too much of an animalic leather. It's not necessarily too much of a syrupy sweet vanilla. So it kind of really finds a middle ground with those two notes that could actually go too far in one direction or the other depending on what you're into. So this one ultimately is very wearable, I think, for a lot of people. It's very easy to get along with, and being that it's a parfum and that it has a pretty strong base, it cuts through the air really well. It takes over all other scents and it just works great. This next one here is so unfair. It's so overpowered that you really don't even have to think about this. Like, if you want to go into a situation, say it's going to be, you know, a big event, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of guys wearing fragrances, a lot of women wearing perfumes, right? You know, smells of all sorts in the air. And you just want to be like, I just want to own this, you know? I want to be the one that everyone is smelling. Like, this will do it every time, and it just is so unfair how well this is going to work. It's MANCERA Red Tobacco. It's got tobacco. It's got some slight bits of oud in here as well. Some sweetness going on to balance that oud and tobacco, because there's a lot of tobacco and even a nice bit of oud, but it's not too, you know, overbearing or anything. It's a relatively mild oud, and for that, you know, not like a super niche level oud either, like quality and that sort of thing. You could tell it's not like premium stuff. It's just very, very easy to get along with still, even though it's a beast mode scent. It's a 12+ hour longevity scent. It's close to that in projection as well. I mean, it is just an absolute powerhouse of a scent that will always take over and get the job done. I mean, this stuff is crazy strong, so you really don't need a lot of it. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It's crazy. Now, if you want to save some money, you can go with AFNAN 9PM, usually in the, I don't know, $40 and under range, basically, for a 100 ml bottle. And this is a clone of Ultra Male. And that one is a fragrance that is very heavy on the pear, the vanilla, the cinnamon, the lavender, and some people kind of say it doesn't perform so well on them anymore. They've changed it. It's been reformulated, all of that sort of thing. So if you want to avoid all of that, you don't want to take a chance with it or whatever, you can just go with this. And this one has pretty consistently above average performance, I think, on most wearers. A lot of the feedback I've seen in the comments has been on the positive side for this one. So this might be the way to go for you. You know, even performance aside, this DNA is just so overpowering that it just gets the job done there. When you couple that DNA with strong performance, projection, longevity, then it really takes over. If you want to really kind of dominate your scent space, go for this one. Running down to the end, a new release of this year, Gucci Guilty. This is going to be the Parfum version here. And what I like so much about this one is it's been one that's been difficult for me to figure out. You know, this is very easy to throw the generic label on it because it's just, again, it's a Parfum flanker of a best-selling designer DNA, right? Everyone knows Gucci Guilty by now, okay? But this Parfum version is impressive. The way they're using kind of the citrusy orange blossom here with some musk, some wood, some sweetness. It has this weird texture to it that I haven't really experienced in any other scent, designer or niche. It's just very, very hard for me to describe, very hard for me to figure out. One thing that I have noticed here consistently as I've been testing it throughout this year is that the performance has been fantastic. Again, we're talking Parfum, and it really gets the job done. Strong stuff that, even though it's a little bit somewhat lighter in terms of its DNA, it really does occupy your scent space very well. And last up for this one, BVLGARI Aqua. So like I said in the beginning, your run-of-the-mill cheapy aquatics are not going to cut it. Even your Aqua de Jo, that, you know, that's not a cheapie, but it's still kind of a very popular aquatic. That's not going to cut it either. So it's not just price that I'm talking about here, but it's just DNA type. This is an aquatic, so you're probably wondering what the difference is. Well, this one uses a ton of seaweed, some other citrus, like some orange in here, and this is a true oceanic scent. Other aquatic scents are going to be stripped way back to please the masses. This is not trying to please the masses. This is not trying to be stripped back. This is trying to embody the smell of the ocean, and it does that. It's a beast mode scent, even though it's just the original here. It kind of gets forgotten about, but I mean, this stuff cuts through the air. It just dominates everything around you. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. 10 scents that are going to consistently dominate everyone else's fragrance around you, so that way everyone is focusing on how you smell. Like I said, especially when you're in an environment where there's a lot of people and, you know, it could be an outdoor environment or whatever. There's going to be a lot of other colognes and a lot of other scents going on. If you want to stand out, you got to go for something like these. Links will be down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.